Before the liberation of Snake Island from the Russian military, part of the territory of the Odessa region was under occupation. After the special forces of the main intelligence directorate drove the Russian invaders off the island on June 30 last year, the main ports of the Black Sea were again unblocked. A month later, a historic event took place in Istanbul. Ukraine and the Russian Federation signed declarations with Turkey and the UN on the launch of a grain corridor. The agreement provided an opportunity to work for the three largest Ukrainian ports of the Black Sea, the ports of the so-called Big Odessa, Chernomorsk, Pivdenny and Odessa. Only Turkish ships entered the port for grain transportation, and the General Commission, together with the UN, Ukraine and the Russian Federation, examined them in Istanbul.
The initiative we just signed opens a path for significant volumes of commercial food exports from three key Ukrainian ports in the Black Sea: Odessa, Chernomorsk and Yuzhny. The beacon of hope on the Black Sea is shining bright today. Antonio Guterres, UN Secretary-General, at the time of the signing of the agreement in Istanbul.
For almost a year of operation of the grain corridor, Ukraine managed to export 33 million tons of grain products. These volumes are comparable to those exported by Ukraine before Russia's full-scale invasion. In 2021, for comparison, all Ukrainian ports exported 53 million tons of grain, while using the ports of Mykolaiv, Kherson, Zaporizhia and Donetsk regions.
The best month of the grain initiative was last October. Three ports of Big Odessa were able to ship over 4 million tons, and then the Russians began to block it in every possible way to come up with some new conditions.
The weather contributed to the export of agricultural products. A good and mild winter and a rainy spring allowed Ukrainian farmers to get an excellent harvest, most of which is exported to the other countries.
This year has been generous with rain. Nature helped a little. Therefore, we can say that this year is not bad.
The initiative of the President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, Grain from Ukraine, is a supply of grain to those countries in Africa and Asia that are on the verge of a humanitarian catastrophe and are in need of agricultural products.
As part of the Black Sea Grain Initiative, Ukraine sent about 300,000 tons of food to Ethiopia and another 90,000 tons of grain as part of a separate Grain from Ukraine initiative. Ukraine is still ready to remain the guarantor of world food security. It is also interested in developing bilateral relations with Ethiopia in the areas of security, digitalization and others. Volodymyr Zelensky, President of Ukraine, on Telegram.
The formal reason for withdrawing from the grain deal was the attack on the Crimean Bridge, although half a month before that the Russian side began to block the work of the inspection and not let some of the ships out of Ukrainian ports.
Південний був заблокований ще з кінця.
Yuzhny port has been blocked since the end of April. Vessels that tried to go there for cargo were not confirmed. They registered and inspected only ships that sailed from the ports of Odessa and Chernomorsk, but also 2 boats a day is nothing.
Russia backed up its withdrawal from the grain deal with missile attack and terror. In less than a week, from July 20 to July 25th, the Russian army fired more than 100 missiles at Odessa and the region. Aiming at the port infrastructure, Putin's rockets destroyed peaceful houses, churches and architectural monuments.
One person died this night in Odessa. My condolences to family and friends. 20 people were injured, including 4 children, 11, 12 and 17 years old.
In a month of missile terror, Russia destroyed more than 180,000 tons of grain. In addition to the Black Sea ports, the Russian Federation fired at the ports on the Danube, Reni and Ismail. Now Ukraine continues to make efforts to resume the grain deal. The main plan is to force the Russian Federation to return to agreements with Turkey and the UN. But there is also an alternative plan to completely refuse participation in the deal with Russia and continue to export grain without the country of the aggression. Reported by Serhiy Kulas, Bogdan Maksimets, UATV News.